For once, Dash could simply fly. He rested easily in the archetype's cradle, watching the star field on the heads-up. He flicked the view behind the archetype and finally got a sense of motion, the Aquarian ring getting smaller and more distant behind him. It had been a good visit with Albaget. The dapper Aquarian leader had been keen to hear every detail of the massive battle they'd just won. The realm of Cygnus had fought against the Verity and the Bright at the shipyard, and the spinning wreckage told a story of chaos and death, and victory. Dash could tell Albaget and his people got a real boost of confidence in their alliance with the Cygnus realm, and that was important. It hadn't been that Albaget was uncertain, just careful. And against the Golden, nothing was a given. The starboard auxiliary stabilizer has gone offline, Sentinel said. There seems to be a fault in the starboard power distribution system. I am attempting to isolate it. Should we turn back for the ring? Dash asked. That is not necessary. All of the redundant systems are still functioning. Dash nodded and fully relaxed again. Okay then. Well, we'll loop back to the forge to make sure that gets fixed. He eyed the threat indicator again, still blank, and then called up the archetype status board so he could get an overview of the mech's performance. It had taken a beating from a harbinger that had been lurking near the forge, either spying on them or planning an attack. Dash and the archetype had finally won the fight, and the harbinger was now glowing slag sluicing through the forge's fabricators. In the Cygnus realm, enemies weren't just defeated, they were useful. But the fight had reinforced something Dash had started to suspect, that the Golden were looking for ways to improve the combat abilities of their automated forces, and not just with better weapons or armor. It turned out that the Unseen, by effectively recruiting humans like Dash to their cause, had introduced a chaotic element, a natural spontaneity and unpredictability of the mercurial, passionate, messy creatures called people, into their war with the Golden, and the Golden were having trouble dealing with it. Whether the Unseen had done that deliberately or just lucked into it, Dash and his colleagues didn't know. But the Harbinger he'd fought had been much more innovative and impulsive in its tactics. It took all of Dash's instincts, every move and reaction he'd learned from more than a few bar fights and ugly brawls, to finally defeat the damn thing. They definitely improved their AI, and had also started putting pilots into Harbingers. Verity pilots, like the ones he and Lyra had fought right in the closing moments of the battle at the shipyard. They hadn't been very good, but their ever-better AI was a cause for serious concern. Dash, Sentinel said, we're receiving a broadband distress call. From where? Unknown. The transmission is fragmented and mostly incoherent, owing to interference from an intervening region of charged dust. I can only offer a direction and an estimated distance. This close to the ring, it might be an Aquarian ship, Dash mused, then shrugged. In any case, we'll go check it out. This is supposed to be a shakedown cruise to check out the repairs to this thing after all. A few more hours of flying couldn't hurt. Dash lined up the trajectory, boosted the drive, and headed for the closest safe translation point. May I make an observation? Sentinel asked. Sure. You seem reluctant to return to the forge. Huh? What makes you say that? We completed all of the necessary tests and maneuvers to confirm that the archetype is once more ready for combat before traveling to the Aquarian ring. That visit was itself impromptu, as you hadn't planned it before contacting Albaget regarding it. I just wanted to give him a full account of our fight at the shipyard. You could have done that just as effectively through hollow image transmissions. Not the same. Face-to-face diplomacy is... it's different. You get nuances and things. Details. You then planned a circuitous route back to the forge, despite the fact that it is relatively close to the Aquarian ring now, Sentinel went on, and you further exhibited a physiological response suggestive of both relief and excitement regarding the distress call. It's a distress call, and I was not relieved. Your voice pattern and physiological response now suggests that you are experiencing shame and some anger. Am I embarrassing and angering you? Dash stared at the heads-up, but didn't see the star field and simply shook his head. Look, I know you can practically read my mind. Hell is how the archetype works, but seriously, this... He shook his head again. You're kind of getting into areas that aren't really your business. Is that because of some of the similarities between these reactions and those you experience when you are in close proximity to Lyra? Those are suggestive of attraction, both emotional and physical. Okay, you know what? This conversation is over.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.